If you're thinking about buying a home, there is one question that just towers over everything else, right? It's the big one. How much can I actually afford? Well, don't worry. By the end of this, you're going to have a really clear answer.
So let's just get right to it. This is the question that really matters, isn't it? I mean, it's so easy to get lost scrolling through those dream house listings, but real confidence, that comes from knowing what the numbers say is a smart, sustainable purchase for you.
And the good news is, there's actually a formula for this. We're going to demystify the whole process. We'll break down the golden rule that lenders use, walk through a real-world example, and I promise, by the end, you'll have the tools you need to find your own number. Okay, so how do banks and lenders even decide how much they're willing to lend you in the first place? Well, it all comes down to this really simple, time-tested principle that basically unlocks your true buying power. It's called the 28-36 rule, and this little rule is pretty much the bedrock of mortgage lending. Seriously, understanding this one principle is the absolute key to figuring out your budget. You can kind of think of it as two rules in one. Let's break it down. The 28 part means your total housing payment, and I mean everything, shouldn't be more than 28% of your gross monthly income. That's your income before taxes. Then, the 36 part means that all of your monthly debt payments combined, we're talking housing, car loans, student debt, you name it, shouldn't go over 36% of that same monthly income. And listen, this isn't just some random number they pulled out of a hat. Lenders have literally decades of data showing that people who stick to these limits are way more likely to pay their mortgages successfully. It's a proven formula for financial stability. Theory is great and all, but let's make this real. We're going to put this rule into practice with a real-world example. So, let's meet Sarah. Sarah is a teacher, and she's making a solid annual income of $75,000. Now, she really wants to buy a home, but like a lot of us, she has no idea where to even start with her budget. So, let's do the math for her. First things first, we need to figure out her gross monthly income. This part's pretty simple. We just take her annual salary, that's $75,000, and divide it by 12. And that gives us her starting point, $6,250 a month. Now, let's apply that first part of the rule, the 28 part. We multiply her monthly income by 0.28, which gets us to $1,750. And here's the most important thing to remember. This number is the absolute ceiling for her total monthly housing payments. And right here is a detail that trips up so many first-time buyers. That $1,750 isn't just for the mortgage, the principal and interest. It has to cover all the other costs that come with owning that home. Just take a look at this breakdown. Out of her $1,750 budget, we have to subtract all these other costs first. So, for example, let's pencil in, say, $300 for property taxes, maybe $150 for homeowners insurance, and another $100 for an HOA fee. And just like that, what's left for the actual mortgage payment itself is only $1,200. So, the big question is, what kind of house does a $1,200 mortgage payment get you? Well, with a pretty typical interest rate and a decent 20% down payment, Sarah can comfortably afford a home priced right around $230,000. See? Now we have a real, tangible number to work with. But hang on, because that number isn't set in stone. What if Sarah had less money for a down payment? Or what if she had more student debt? Things like this can change the entire calculation, sometimes dramatically. All right, let's talk about the incredible power of a down payment. With 20% down on that $230,000 home, Sarah's loan is $184,000. But if she only puts 5% down, her loan amount skyrockets to over $218,000. And that's not just a higher monthly payment. It often means you're paying extra for private mortgage insurance, or PMI. A bigger down payment really does directly increase your buying power. Okay, so Sarah passed the 28% test. But we are not done. We have to check the other side of the coin, her total debt, using that 36% ceiling. This is where things like car payments and student loans really come into play. Let's just walk through the math. Her total debt limit, that's the 36% rule, is $2,250 a month. Now, Sarah has a $350 car payment and a $200 student loan payment. That's $550 in existing debt. So we subtract that from her limit, and that leaves her with $1,700 for housing costs. Remember how her projected housing payment was $1,750? She is right on the edge, but she just squeaks by. Any more debt than that, and she'd have to lower her home budget. So now that you've seen how all the math works for Sarah, let's talk about building your own affordability blueprint.
This is how you take control of your numbers. Beyond that main rule, you've got to keep 3 other crucial factors in mind. First, your credit score. It has a massive impact. A great score can lower your monthly payment by a surprising amount. Second, property taxes vary wildly depending on where you live. And third, and this is a big one, always leave some breathing room in your budget for all of life's unexpected costs. And this might be the single most important piece of advice in this entire thing. Just because a bank approves you for a certain amount doesn't mean you should spend it all. Your personal comfort level is what really matters, and honestly, living below your means is the true key to financial peace of mind. Now, the best part of all this is you don't actually have to do all this math by hand on a napkin. There are some fantastic online affordability calculators that do all the heavy lifting for you. You just plug in your income, your debts, your potential down payment, and bam, they'll instantly show you your buying power. So, there you have it. You have the framework now. You understand the 2836 rule that lenders live by. You've seen it in action, and you know there are tools out there to help you. So the only real question left is, what's your number?